AutoWeb. Welcome to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, the #1 resource for automotive sales professionals, managers, and owners to learn how to make money, accumulate wealth, and to all out ball out in the auto industry. And now your hosts, Sean V. Bradley and L.A. Williams.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
AutoWeb.
Hey everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of the Dealer Synergy, the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Group, and we just broke 19,000 elite members in the Millionaire Car Salesman Group, and this is an extension. This is the Millionaire Car Salesman Club on Clubhouse, and so we have two different audiences. We have everybody here in Clubhouse, and that's where they're going to be able to ask questions and interact, and then we're going to live stream this awesomeness in the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, which is the parent of this. Okay, now let me explain to you who's on stage right now. This is really super awesome. We've got the main man, Mr. Danny Zalowski. Danny is the dealer, owner, partner of a dealer group called Country Hill Motors, multiple independent dealerships in Kansas City, second generation badass. Then we've got Cody Carter. Cody is one of the world's top sales consultants. He has sold over 118 units last month, 139.5 units on the floor. Then we got LT, who's marketing, but was in the automotive industry with Cars Direct back in the day. That's why I have her on stage here, because she's a lead source expert. We got Joe Kalitz. Joe is, amongst other things, a former desk manager, GSM, 12 years automotive experience, but a used car beast. Then we got Tiana Mick, which is T Got Your Keys. We got Karen from Canada. Then we have Roy Davila. Roy is at GSM. He just came from a Lithia store. Now he's with Mike Shaw Kia. He's a super beast.
Product placement.
Yes, he's a super beast on here. And then we have my queen, Karina Bradley, which is hijacking this live stream right now. And then we got Tim Cox, who's a partner and co-founder of the amazing Car Now. And there's a bunch of people in the audience that are high-level managers, GSMs, marketing directors, etc. So we're going to get things popping right here. So the name of the room is How to Engage and Sell More Used Car Leads. So Danny, if you can you just kick it off and kind of just share a little bit about your background as a dealer owner of multiple used car stores?
I grew up in the car business since I was 14 years old, and it's been an awesome journey. But the thing that has remained consistent is that the business is evolving, and I'm really excited that you all are here. But Tim, I'm really excited that you joined, because later in the conversation, we're going to be talking about multi-channel communication. And I think that is probably one of the biggest lessons that I want to be able to impart today as we talk about it, because those multi-channel communications of meeting consumers where they are instead of expecting them to meet us where we are as dealers has been one of the most impactful things for us. And Car Now is one of the leaders in making that possible for dealers. So the other thing that I want to talk about, whether you are a salesperson or a sales manager or an owner or a leader of people and on a journey to one day own a car dealership, the ways in which that we provide service to consumers is obviously incredibly important, having that commitment to excellence, but the data that shows up on the screen so that the consumers can see value above and beyond price so that our industry stops being commoditized is something I'm really excited to talk about today.
All right, so let me jump in and just kind of reset the room really quick. We've got a ridiculous panel here, all for you to learn one thing. How can you engage and sell more used car leads? So what I want to first start off is by saying, I'm going to kick it over to Danny and then to our panel, right? Is we have just a simple concept, in my opinion. If you want to get more used car engagements and sales, it starts with quality leads. Garbage in, garbage out. If you've got shitty lead source providers, or you got parasitic companies like Car Gurus and companies like that just suck you dry and you pay them to advertise your cars to your competitors, you're going to be swimming backwards. If you want to have higher engagement and if you want to have a higher success in selling these things, you want to have higher quality leads. So Danny, do you agree as a dealer that what I just said is accurate?
Yeah, totally. So number one, organic leads, meaning consumers coming into your store, are going to convert 70% higher than a third-party lead. And we can prove that over and over and over again. And that's just talking about inbound. Now, third parties are necessary, and there are really good ones out there that are dealer benevolent and work with us to get the consumer over to our VDPs and so forth. But there are those also that do not, right? So increasing the organic opportunities that you get in a car dealership is what I would love to be able to share what we're doing, and then also hear from others to know what they're doing. And then who's doing the tracking to know how many of those deals are you actually closing, and how are you investing in attracting more consumers in your own backyard so that you can conquer your own DMA and capitalize on that so that you can continue to lower the cost, the acquisition cost, and just be a champion in your own community.
No, I think that's really powerful. So to be specific, there are some lead source providers that do provide value. Like, I'm fans and have been working for like 20 years with companies like AutoWeb or Cars Direct that both have used car programs, and they're different than online classifieds. They're actually legitimate lead source providers versus people that say, oh, I'm not a lead provider, I'm an online classified. So we get you clicks, we get VDPs, we get SRPs, we get all this other stuff. So Danny, with that being said, there's one thing that I want you to kind of touch on right here for the section of high quality leads. Is the social media VDP specific opportunity. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So one of the things that we do, that we've actually learned to do just over the last year and a half, is what we call VIN specific targeted advertising. And we do it through AdCue, AdCue. So what VIN specific targeted advertising does, so we've all heard of retargeting. Retargeting is when somebody comes to my website, goes out in the world, and they continue to see my message or my car, my brand show up in other places. Well, VIN-specific targeted advertising merges or connects a consumer with behavior out in the world that says they're looking for a minivan under $20,000 or a class in a price range. And then when I have a car that matches that need, we apply spend to that vehicle, and it goes out in the world and goes to just those customers. So I compare it to putting an ad on a billboard on the highway, and the only consumers driving underneath that ad are the ones looking for that product. So the conversion is really high. And where are we driving them? Right to our VDP. And so then it's our due diligence and our job to make sure that the information on the screen, once they land there, is valuable. And then the experience can then convert them into an opportunity that turns into a sale.
So let's just go through this. NADA's cost per sale on average is about $640 per car. Doing this, what would you say the average cost per sale is for a VDP-specific social media opportunity?
So we are spending $6,000 a month right now on VIN-specific ads, and they provide us 50% of the total traffic to my site. Rob Ruth, I'd be happy to, he'd be happy to share this stuff too, but he is spending $10K a month, and he increased his website traffic from 14,000 visitors a month to 25,000 visitors a month. So it's a huge number to get consumers coming to the site. Then the thing that we're trying to get better at is, once they're there, to get that perfect attribution. What we know is consumers land on a VDP. If they fill out a form right there and they end up buying the car, then that's perfect attribution, right? And so we know that's about $160 that we just spent to win that customer, instead of 2 times that or 3 times that with traditional advertising, versus getting, if they go back out to the website and go on the SRP and start searching for other cars, that's where the attribution falls off a little bit, but we still got the customer in our front digital door.
Yeah, you mentioned Rob Ruth, the dealer principal of Bob Ruth Ford. He's got his internet director on here, and he has his digital marketing manager, Lexi, just jumped in and out.
Oh, awesome.
So yeah, so they could definitely validate what you're saying. So if I could, because I want to move things forward. Yeah. So pretty much, as a DP of multiple, used car dealerships, obviously you don't have the benefit or the dilemma, because it could be a gift or a curse, right, of a franchise to have, certain leads. You have to be at the mercy of either online classifieds or lead source providers for your used cars, which are all inventory-based opportunities, or you've got to get creative for ways for you to drive traffic. And what you just said is that you're spending a fraction of what traditional dealerships would do to generate 50% of all your opportunities. So your cost per opportunity, your cost per sale is dramatically lower than what the typical dealership is, correct?
Yeah, it's less than 50%.
That's crazy. Okay, so now what I want to do is on that, I want to go through the panel and I want to just ask a couple of the managers right here. So Roy, Davila, you're a GSM. Can you tell me what are some of the high quality pre-owned leads that you generate? Let's start there. What's your sources? How do you generate quality leads for your used cars?
To be honest with you, Sean, we really don't do a lot of third-party lead generation anymore. And the biggest, so I just took back over this Kia store for Mike Shaw. I actually started my career with him, 10 years ago. And last month they sold 98 cars. Right now we're already sitting at 101. And the biggest increase that we've made is in pre-owned. We're actually pacing 106 used cars. And they haven't touched anywhere close to that, in a very long time, in a few years. And we're doing it organically, where we get a majority of our pre-owned leads from our posts on Facebook. I make it where these guys have to post our inventory into all the classifieds and on their personal pages. They've got to post at least 3 times a day, and then as a store, we're doing it as well. But it just so happens as we started to do that, our Car Now leads started to go through the roof as well. So I don't know if maybe they're going hand in hand. We're posting our website, we're posting our inventory, and it's leading people to our website. But that's where we're getting. I think the only third-party lead provider I really use right now, and it's because we're grandfathered in with Cox, is like Auto Trader. And we don't. I was going through the numbers yesterday. We don't get a ton of leads from them. Our conversion rate's good, but we just don't get a ton of leads. But our biggest growth has been from Car Now and Facebook. So.
No, that's perfect. I want to go into Casey from Ruth Ford. Can you speak about? Danny just said that you guys are murdering it right now with VinQ and driving VDP specific social ads to drive used car traffic. Is that correct?
Yeah, definitely. Danny's really helped us out a lot with getting more organic traffic into our dealership.
Okay. Now, so would you say that the highest quality used car leads are the ones that you guys are generating yourself?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, they're closing out at such a higher rate. Vehicle buying center Danny's been helping us with, that's closing about 20%. We push a lot of our organic traffic into our digital retailing tool, Roadster, and that closes about 27% as well.
Okay.
Hey, Sean, there's a guy in the audience named Jeremy Brevard. He's actually their rep. He can speak to some of that too. Yeah.
So can you speak to that, Jeremy?
Awesome. So yeah, we, just the results alone. We were all kind of surprised once we got into the GA and we use Experian DPS data. And once we started to really dive in, the impression count alone was pretty mind-boggling. But I think those results are just going to continue to increase over time.
Okay, strong. Jesse, you're a dealer principal yourself of a Ford dealership in Minnesota. Can you talk right now at the moment, Jesse Garmin?
Hey, Sean. Hey, everybody. Yeah, I can.
Hey, how are you doing? So, Jesse, again, used cars that's the difference with internet. They're inventory-based opportunities. That's where dealers have a chance to differentiate and really, overcompensate, especially during this crazy climate. What's some of your best used car trade craft lead source? Where do you get your highest quality used car leads? Is it what you generate yourself or from third parties?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Don't be the last one with your hand up at the auction. VinQ Vehicle Buying Center gives dealers the digital and in-store tools you need to buy direct from the public. On average, inventory bought from the public grosses $1,200 higher on the front end alone. VinQ turns buying cars direct from the public into a business. The most profitable dealerships in the country are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in additional front end gross. Private party acquisition starts with VinQ. See it at VinQ.com.
Yeah, so I think this is a great topic, especially now with new inventory being so low. Used is where it's all at right now. The best stuff that we're kind of seeing is generating some of our own, buying it off the street. This week I actually just started buying stuff right through Facebook.
I've been stopping or going through that stuff nonstop, and it seems to be working really, really well. So we've been doing that, watching the service drive. And then for third-party resource, AutoWeb has been huge, and just kind of getting out there that, hey, we buy cars.
Okay, so let's talk about used car merchandising. This might seem remedial, so let's just get through this part quickly. Here's what I find. I cannot believe in 2021, and I would love to hear from Tim Cox on this one, is that there's so many dealers that spend a shit ton of money on marketing, advertising, or driving used car traffic, but they don't merchandise the cars the right way. They don't really set up the VDP the proper way. They don't have the multiple pictures or their shitty quality pictures, or their pictures before the vehicle's been PDI'd and cleaned up. It makes no sense. Images are important. You've heard the phrase, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And I got to tell you, I was just at one of my dealers recently, and I was so impressed that on the VDP, they have videos. Okay, multimedia. You have sight, sound, motion, and emotion. So yeah, theoretically, you should have a unique video selling the features and benefits and the uniqueness of each individual pre-owned vehicle, but that takes a lot of resources. And I hate the stitch video crap that's out there. So what you can do instead is create a used car value package proposition video. So instead of creating, if you have 100 used cars retail ready, that's hard to get 100 really awesome customized videos. But again, if you want the shit that the average person doesn't have, you got to be willing to do the things the average person is willing to do. But if you don't have that bandwidth, at least create a really awesome video explaining why to purchase a pre-owned vehicle from your dealership. You could talk about, even if it's not CPL, because Danny's independent, but he might have Country Hill certification. They do a 118-point inspection. They might have a 3-month, 3,000-mile bumper-to-bumper warranty, whatever it is. Maybe there's a Carfax, maybe there's a 3-day love it or leave it. Whatever it is that having a video on the VDP explaining the used car value package proposition is awesome. Other things that I think that are best practices, and I want to get, again, Tim Cox in a second, is making sure that you don't just use a simple VIN exploder, the one to just basically get the basic stuff. Have somebody that understands the vehicle to be able to put selling points on there. Like this was bought and purchased at our dealership, is owned by a senior citizen, is owned by a non-smoker, it was serviced here at the dealership. This car's a diamond. We want to still sell the vehicle. So those are just some basic practices that will absolutely increase your used car lead engagement and conversions. Tim, can you give some basic tips or advanced tips on how dealers could provoke or instigate or escalate more engagements with the VDPs?
1,000%. And someone mentioned Facebook before, and I played the Clubhouse game to where I was searching around to see who didn't have a microphone. So whoever was, I was trying to find out who that was. I apologize, but the whole Facebook game, posting, not necessarily even ads, but posting on Facebook with solid pictures. So long story short, there's a couple nuggets there that I want you to get, and it might seem weird. Someone that has chat and text as a product to say this with fully managed call centers. But, posting on Facebook, the gentleman that was talking before, we are seeing big engagements. In fact, but it's how you're posting on Facebook. We did an A/B test in one of our larger stores in Texas that just posted a VDP on Facebook with really no description. And it was posted by the salesperson. The same vehicle was posted. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this depends on your PMA. What type of people are buying vehicles from your dealership, because you have to be chameleon-esque and advertise accordingly. But the ones that had payment descriptions, payments as low as on that particular car, received 11x. With it was nearly 200 comments and almost 100 shares. It was the same car. But because of the description of the car, it received just multiple, and obviously they sold it pretty quickly. Another thing that I want to say, and it also it has to do with Facebook as well. I apologize if you've been in a room and this is familiar to you. But my buddy Bob Lanham, Sean, who you know and many of you guys know, had the privilege, as some of us do, to speak at 20 groups. And he talked about Facebook Marketplace. And when he talked about Facebook Marketplace, immediately a dealer stood up and said, Bob, stop. Facebook Marketplace sucks. At the same time, across the room, as they're often U-shaped, another general manager stood up and said, Tom, you're a freaking idiot. We're closing at over 60% on Facebook Marketplace. The difference between the two dealers, and the great thing about pre-owned and the great thing about what Danny does, look, that pre-owned car, there's only one car like that in the world. There's only one car with that many miles that smells that clean with those kind of tires. There's only one car. And the difference was the dealer that said Facebook Marketplace sucked was the dealer that had a company like ours answering those leads, which is fine, but putting them in the CRM of death, because we all know that salespeople work the CRM like they're supposed to, and even sales managers work the CRM as supposed to. The person that was closing, let me say that again, 60% closing ratio. And the difference, they had 3 individuals that took the marketplace leads in real time. So I would encourage that. I would also encourage video, because not Tim Cox's words, but Google's words, if you can send a video, it's fact. Facts, the thing about facts that I love, they eliminate feelings. They just do. Google says if you send a video to a customer, the customer is 63% more likely to go to the dealership that send them video. Why in the world are we not sending walk around beautiful videos of ourselves? Hey, listen, this is Tim Cox at Hennessy Lexus. We're not going to miss your business. How can I serve you? Oh, by the way, this is this beautiful LS right here. And we would love to make it easy and show you the experience like you've never seen before. Why are we not doing it? The dealers that are taking those extra steps, that are doing videos on the cars, that are answering their own marketplace and making their own posts, that's how the gentleman is doubling his amount of cars sold in the first couple months. So kudos to you, and just to get this thing started, that's my 2 cents, and I'm done.
Hey, Tim, and to back that up, that's exactly how we're doing it. I mean, we post every day. We post. It's all about not just getting the post done, and I treat them like they do phone calls. Like they used to just post to get me off their back and say, hey, I made my 3 posts. We dive into it and make sure the posts are quality posts, and what are you putting out there? What are our triggers? What are we doing to attract attention? What are we doing to separate ourselves from the market? And then we're very involved in video. I do video for everything. Facebook posts, I do video for appointment confirmations, appointments missed. Thank you for buying the vehicle. If you didn't buy the vehicle, you're going to get a video from me or one of my managers. Hey, thanks for the visit. What was the one thing that might have stopped us? Or, hey, we got a great idea. We're going to follow up with you here pretty soon. Can't wait to, speak with you. Video and then the quality of the post has helped us change our game and take it to the next level.
So I want to.
By the way, I believe it was you that talked about our leads. And again, please connect with me so we can figure out how I can personally walk in lockstep and serve you better, my friend. So thank you.
So Danny wants to jump in. Danny, jump in. Get some double Dutch.
No, so Tim, Roy, I absolutely love this, and what I want to take it from another angle too. I think for those in the room that are dealer principals or managers or sales managers, it is more than our obligation. It is like the reason we exist today as leaders. When a consumer arrives to that VDP, I would love for Tim and Roy to talk about this, but talking about dealer exclusive values, anything above and beyond price that increases the value of the car. So for instance, reconditioning. We hired a person recently that spends, sorry, I'm getting reverb, so that's why I'm talking a little funny, that their whole purpose in life is to get into the DMS, pull the reconditioning out of the car, push it into the comments of the vehicle, also push it into the photo reel so we can do overlays on cars when there's pictures of tires to talk about new tires, when there's pictures of the interior and talk about anything that we did and so forth. And all of that communication coupled with the correct options, features, and packages of a car so that it ranks correctly in search, now you have a complete VDP. That is the world that we're living in, right? And so that's where technology and industry mix, and it's our job as dealer principals, as managers, to make sure that process in that that technology is working really, really well. Then on the other side, when that communication happens, and this is what I'm so impressed with the stuff that Tim's doing, the stuff that Roy is doing, is when the consumer lands there to get that instantaneous communication with the consumer back and forth going instead of what I really like. I've never heard the CRM of death, where it gets lost. If the CRM isn't set up properly, then all of a sudden 60% is like, it makes perfect sense. It should be higher than that.
Listen, let me just reset real quick because a lot of people that are joining. Everybody, this is Sean V. Bradley, president of Dealer Synergy, and the creator of the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group with 19,000 members and now the Millionaire Car Salesman Club. On this panel, you have a bunch of super high-level people. We have Danny Zalowski, who's a dealer principal of an independent dealer group in Kansas City. We got Roy Davila, who is a GSM of Mike Shaw. We've got Kevin Curtis, who is the sales manager of McGrath Hyundai and Subaru. I just brought Lindsay Shaker, who is part of the Shaker Auto Group. So your last name is part of this major dealer group. And there's a bunch of lurkers. One of my clients from the Coons Automotive Group, Toyota, Bowie, Kia, Bowie, Bob, Ruth Ford. There's a ton of high level people, and we got founders of Car Now up in here, and then we got my guy Joe Kalitz, who's a former GSM, 12 years automotive experience, desk manager. And we're talking about something simple: how to engage, sell more used cars. And Tim just killed it. Danny just killed it. I want to give our other moderator, Joe Kalitz. Joe, you've been an internet director, BDC director, sales manager, desk manager in GSM. What to you is really important about being able to differentiating those used cars to get more, clicks and more engagement off of them?
Well, a lot of it ties into what everyone's been talking about already. The model I always like to follow is that your digital showroom has to be just as nice, if not nicer, than your actual physical showroom. And your process with everything you put on the VDP pages should be exactly the same message you're delivering to consumers that are in your showroom. Why would you, for Facebook, why would you take their information and throw it in the CRM? That's like having a customer walk up on your lot going, let me get your information. All right, I'll give you a call, and not going through the process with them. So why, knowing that almost every consumer is going online, why aren't we treating them just the same, if not even better, than the people that physically walk into the dealership themselves?
I want to jump in because I want to ask Karen from Canada, and she's a moderator, and that's her nickname, so I'm not just profiling her. She's really from Canada. So Karen from Canada, one thing about Canadian dealerships that some people in the States don't realize is that you guys don't have third-party providers out there, whereas you don't have new car providers. You only have online classifieds, so you have to get good at maximizing the used car game. So can you share with us what do you do to be able to generate high-quality used car traffic or opportunities, but more importantly, how do you increase engagements and conversions?
Yeah, so that's so true. So basically, the majority of our leads, well, pretty well all of them, come from Auto Trader. Now, this topic couldn't be better timed because we've been having the conversation over the past couple of weeks about dropping Auto Trader because the ROI is just not there. And converting to Facebook only. Now, we also do have a quote-unquote online classified, which is Kijiji, which they've got an auto section as well. But I've been kind of delving into seeing just how many dealers are on there and doing. I'm in the research phase with that one, but I know that the home run is going to be with Facebook. So it's upping the entire marketing game and getting those listings out there accordingly. So I'm really interested in hearing more about the Facebook Marketplace details as far as that is concerned, and how dealers are doing it. Are they posting independently to Marketplace, or is posting a sale listing on your own Facebook page carrying it over to Marketplace?
After these messages, we'll be right back.
At the very first Dealer eProcess keynote, Gino Ciparroni and Sam Vukas introduced new tools and strategies to drive conversion, new designs to increase customer engagement, and new technologies to dominate the competition. Visit dealereprocess.com/keynote to watch and see what's new in 2021.
So we use AdCue and it gets Experian DPS data. So Experian, we buy data that said, and it's all through this AdCue program. We buy data that tells us what consumers have what behavior in what area, and then we match our inventory directly to those consumers. And so I'm spending about $200 per car to sell those cars. And so it ends up being about $160 a car, because some cars require more VDPs to sell and some require less, right? So if you think about it, a saturated vehicle or a high market day supply vehicle may require 300 and some VDPs to sell. I have cars. We had a Tesla that we bought last week, a Model 3, and it required 9 VDPs to sell. So, but what AdCue does is it floats that spend directly to those consumers. So it puts the ad up on Facebook, on Instagram, on the Google Ad Network, and it's because that consumer had behavior, but they just didn't know that I existed, right? It's not retargeting. They never knew I was even there. And then it brought them to our website. So that's driving, like I said, about 50% of the traffic to our site right now.
Lindsay, can you share, because the Shaker Auto Group in New England is really respected. Boston and I think Connecticut or what have you, guys are crushing it. How do you guys engage used car opportunities?
Hi, everyone, and thank you. Thank you so much for that. So it's been definitely a topic of conversation lately. We've obviously, we're not alone in the whole inventory issue. And then because there's been an influx of service traffic, which is incredible, but it seems to be perpetuating the pipeline a little bit to making sure that everything gets out. But basically, the whole philosophy is turning it out online as fast as we possibly can, but strategically in that, things go out, done, ready. We've talked a lot about descriptions, and we've talked a lot about adding, because we're pretty psychotic about, in a really good way, and in a way that makes me proud, we're very psychotic about what we do to recondition our vehicles that go out to the front line. So we add a lot of that into the descriptions. Now, that is not to say that I don't have an issue with how most listings and even the websites sort of don't do an excellent job of making your layout nice and concise. It's something that I've kind of battled a lot with, and then when you want to add something, it's slower and blah 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 blah. But we have been doing now I will advise that Facebook has done a whole heck of a lot that I'm not even totally familiar with yet. Right. And I'm embarrassed to say that, by the way. But as far as being able to do matchbacks and sale, get the full picture of attribution and so on and so forth. So I would definitely encourage more looking into there.
No, I appreciate it, Lindsay. Now, Kevin, can you jump in? You're a sales manager of a high-level dealer group in Chicago, like right in the middle of it. You heard the conversation. We're looking for feedback on how to engage and sell more used car leads. And Karen from Canada was just asking about, Facebook Marketplace. Like, what do you guys do to generate high-quality used car leads and engage and convert?
Yeah, no, as you know, I just got here, and we've been definitely fixing a lot of process stuff here. I don't think we're doing really anything on Facebook Marketplace right now, but I definitely know it is a very, very high-level tool that can be utilized. I do plan on getting that going, but we have to do first things first and fix our CRM and get you in here. And I have 2 BDC agents right now. I'm interviewing a BDC manager Friday morning. So right now I'm really just trying to get more infrastructure in, and that way we can start doing this more high level stuff.
So you're not stressed out at all?
Never.
All right, I'm going to pivot, guys, because real quick, because I think this is going to go back to Tim, because Tim just slayed it just a couple minutes ago. So, Danny, can you talk about the multi-channel communications? Because this is kind of where I feel that we were getting some feedback from, Tim on a little bit. But when we were talking in the pre-show, this is really brilliant. So, can you elaborate on your concept of multi-channel communication?
Yeah. Tim, I'm going to ask you to take your mic off so we can kind of talk through this together. But the thing that I keep thinking about is multi-channel communication has been a buzzword, right? And I'm starting to hear it more and more. But what it means to me is meet the customer where they are instead of waiting for them to meet us where we are. And having tools in the system, and I call it plumbing, because ultimately that's what it is, right? The leads are coming in to the system. And we played with this at our store a couple of years ago when we first started doing some Facebook stuff. And we said, hey, anybody in the store that wants to raise their hand to receive Facebook communications, because it has to be tied to a personal account, who wants to do it? And Deborah said, I'll do it. And everybody else was like, no, it's a waste of time. And then all of a sudden she's selling a bunch of cars off of Facebook, and everybody's like, why is she getting more leads than all the rest of us? So multi-channel communication means that you're communicating on any platform that the customer comes in on, whether it's through a native platform like Facebook, or if you're then shaping it into how they want to communicate. And so, Tim, and this is really a question for you because you have a wider experience than I do in the dealer world. How many salespeople and sales managers out there do you think really adopt multi-channel communication and know what to do with it versus going at it the old school way?
Unfortunately, there are very few that get it, and the few that get it are dominating. I was in 2 different stores, and it was the tale of 2 stories yesterday, which will remain nameless. But I was in a monster Toyota store here in Atlanta, where the the general manager, who was just fabulous, was going through, and even they're going to do over 300 pre-owned this month, and 300 pre-owned. And he was going behind his pre-owned manager, raising, because vAuto was pricing, and then that's a whole other clubroom, because vAuto said this car is worth X, and he was looking at his inventory in his market, and he was like, no, they're worth more than that. And he was literally going behind his pre-owned manager and raising the price of the car. I just said that because he's crushing it, and that's a whole other conversation. And I actually pinged him to join the room. We'll see if he joins the room. And then I was in another dealership that had 600, and it wasn't a monster store, but it was they had, through our tool, they had 684 leads January and February. They had two people that were answering just the leads that were coming in through our tool. Now, granted, the guy that was answering them, like, he was a little upset when I came, because the guy that was answering them was averaging 45 cars a month. But at the same time, if you're looking at 684 leads coming in, you know what I mean? We're still leaving a lot at the table. So the answer is, unfortunately, unless, dealers are constantly, it's funny. We train our salespeople by saying, okay, here's your desk. This is your own business. There's the front lot. This is the CRM. Here's your login. Pat people on the head and saying, go get them, instead of, getting trainers like Sean and others and Dawson and all these great trainers and not pouring into their people. So people usually, we see it every single day. We spent 6 hours in that first dealership making sure that everybody was signed up or logged in, making sure they could reach out to these customers. Look, I would say throw your templates away, talk to customers. Respect. If they call you, talk to them on the phone. If they email you, email them back. If they text you and chat with you, do the same. The only thing that I would say is differentiate yourself when these people reach out to you, because they are shopping. The unique thing with the used cars is there's only one of them, but they can buy cars anywhere. And the person that gives, we're in a world, especially with the Vrooms and their Carvanas and the e-CarMaxes, even from years past, that, listen, Carvana and Vroom, they're not selling cars. They're selling an experience. Experience, ladies and gentlemen, is the new brand. Whether we like it or not, whether we think about it, whether we want to put our head in the sand, experience is the new brand. The reason Danny does so well is he sells an experience. He is involved in the community, and people know that they can trust him. So when we sell that experience, we have to make sure that what we say digitally about that experience, that's the way that we are communicating with customers when they come out and reach into our dealerships. Because at the end of the day, I think if you look at your source reports and you look at your Google Analytics, you probably don't need more leads. But what would happen if we respected the channels that customers used, we reached out to them, we served them, we absolutely would sell more cars. It's just not debatable. I see it day in.
Yeah. So I'm going to interrupt you right there. So that's probably the most poignant thing you said. And my aha moment was when I realized we're not selling anymore. We're helping people finish what they started. So they've been doing the shopping online. When they come in and we're working with them, it's literally about giving them just an awesome experience, especially on the lower price range cars, the $8,000, the $12,000, the $15,000 price range cars, to give them a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 experience they don't expect. What you said, different is better than better. Be different. Don't chase better. Find ways to be innovative, because innovators are who creates bull markets. So I love everything that you just said. We started calling leads customers and stopped calling them leads in our store. And it also was something that changed the way that we treat an opportunity that comes through either Facebook or our CRM, because all of a sudden those are people, those are humans. And at the end of the day, it's just humans connecting with other humans. And we want to have a commitment to excellence. And in the old days, testimonials, and even still, I don't subscribe to it, but I call it keyboard courage. When somebody goes online and types something that they wouldn't say to your face, right? Well, there's some of that going on between salespeople and customers, where we're making assumptions that, oh, this person's a tire kicker, or this person isn't serious about buying a car, or they're shopping. Forget all that. Treat them like customers. Help them finish what they started. And our job as leaders, for those of us that are leaders in the room, is to give our team the tools that they need so that they can do their job to the best of their ability, and so that they can grow, and quite frankly, take our seats so that we can continue to grow.
We are an extension of the Facebook group, the Millionaire Car Salesman Facebook group, with like 19,000 highly interactive members. And so a lot of our members have requested to be able to like dive into used cars, especially with the current state of the economy, as well as with the inventory deficiency issues. So I put a panel together with a lot of my clients and friends, and you've been listening to people like Danny Zlowski, who owns multiple pre-owned dealerships. There's GSMs, GMs from large publicly traded dealer groups and multi-billion-dollar dealer groups. And we're just focusing on how can we get better on used car lead generation, how to maximize those leads to increase conversions, and obviously make more money for the organizations. I want to bring someone new, though, that I have up here. I think it's James. Are you available to talk? James is a general manager of a pre-owned organization, and he's got 24 years in the business. So I'd love to be able to hear what James's thought is on this conversation.
I love this. I'm glad that we're doing used cars. That's my passion, is used cars. I've been through the new car world, just like everyone else probably in this group. And the used cars is my passion. And I'm at a store right now that I run, if you guys can believe this, 2 guys, 80 to 90 cars per month. We're trying to get to 120 outside of this pandemic. But how I do it is I still use old school, because I am old school, but I use all the new tools, all the Googles, all the Facebooks, Instagrams, all the stuff, but I still use the supermarket type of advertising, the cash for clunkers, the buy one, get one. I still do use all that stuff like I'm using an old newspaper ad, and I still present it in a bigger way, in a faster way with Facebook for sure. And that's the way we do it over and over and over. And I do it with 2 guys two guys, one BDR, and me, and we sell 80 to 90 cars. But we do it the old school way, and we just appreciate our customer.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Hey, Tim Cox from CarNow, and we would love the privilege and honor to be able to partner with you, our dealer partner, and show you why we continue to be the most awarded communication and digital retailing platform in automotive. What's the buzz about? We'd love to show you why. Please click the link below and let's partner together.
Okay, so I know you said it twice, but I just need to make sure that my Clubhouse is not jingling here incorrectly. So you're saying that two people plus you and a business development representative are selling 80 to 90 cars? Are you freaking kidding me?
We 6 days a week, some days 7 days a week, but we all love it. Of course, they're making great money, so they really, really love it. But all my guys, I'm 49 years old. I'm 49 years old. My other two guys are 49 years old. My BDR is only 28 years old, but she brings the new school back in and allows us to keep going forward. But my old guys love what we do, and we sell cars. We actually don't sell cars. We earn new business, new clients all the time. We're 20 miles out of our big market, so we drag them 20 miles out, which I'm driving into the big market right at the moment. But they keep coming back because the process is easy.
Okay, so let's start with the two quick questions for you. One is, what is your highest quality lead that you're generating? Is it from your website, or is it from like social media? Because I heard you said social is big for you. Or is it from third-party providers or online classifieds?
Third parties are gone, and you know that, Sean. Car Gurus was a thorn in my butt, and we won against them, but all the third parties are gone. We use Google Ads.
Can you do me a favor? Because I know exactly who you are. That's why I asked you the question. I don't do anything by mistake, brother. I'm like a federal death penalty attorney. Don't ask in cross-examination. I know the answers. You know what I mean? But can you share your experience? Because I think it's really important, because Danny is the person that started the whole Car Gurus ground zero with thousands of rooftops sharing their experience. But Danny, I don't think you know what happened to James. James, can you share your experience?
Yes, we ended our process with Car Gurus, and they told us that we didn't end it properly. We didn't re-up, and they thought that we did, and we didn't. And we let it go, just like every other dealer. We just let it go, and they were still taking our inventory. We're trying to figure out why our inventory was there. It's because we kept on feeding it there. But for that long, they were charging us, and my owner was ignoring the bills. Our process was done with them. We were done. Finally, out of nowhere, we got we got sued by Car Gurus. Remember, we're a little tiny store. We have 120 cars in South Dakota, and out of nowhere, we got sued by Car Gurus. We let it go. Then we had to kind of get some lawyers in, so it did cost us a little bit. But when it got all said and done, they dropped us and then asked us to come back, part of the deal.
Yeah, no, that's crazy. So again, these are what this is the reason why Danny had said, he did a workshop about a week or so ago. Stop paying your vendors to advertise to your competitors. And I guess you should add that, stop paying your vendors to sue you. I mean, again, that's crazy. So we all agree that there are some friendly providers out there. Like, I'm fans of, I'm not really a huge fan of the online classifieds because they're like just newspapers on steroids, me personally. Nothing bad about them, but I do like third-party providers because it's, you get a product, you pay X amount of dollars, $20, $25, $18, whatever it is, and you get leads. You don't get the leads, you don't have to pay the cost. Instead of paying a flat rate and playing the hocus pocus stuff. So that's really interesting that you're sharing that, and I'm glad you did that here in Clubhouse, because too many of these vendors are siphoning. They don't have inventory. They don't have cars. They don't have service departments. They don't have relationships, but they're basically bad-mouthing dealers saying, don't go there. You can't trust them. Wink, wink. You could trust me. Come on down. And yet, they're doing what they're preaching to dealers, what they did to you. So I'm sorry that happened to you, man, but I'm glad that you got out of it and you didn't have to deal with that BS. There's a couple people that joined. So Larry, do you have something you want to contribute? Want to have your question, statement?
Yes, sir, Sean. I want you to know that I live in this town that James runs his dealership at, and he does a hell of a great job, because I don't really hear anything bad about his organization as far as the cars he sells and all that, and he literally is selling that many cars, and I see it. I mean, I know the two people that work for him, and they're killing it, and he's got a good thing going. But the reason why he has a good thing going is because he's listening to stuff. He's listening to this, and he's doing all the stuff that I listen to, but I can't do at my dealership. So he's doing all the stuff that we need to do, and we're still stuck in the 70s.
Are you a franchise dealer or independent?
No, I'm franchised.
See, that's crazy. You know what's funny? You know, it's like LA. Are you around, or are you just like posting up here? Because LA's blind, as everybody knows. It says I'm the blind, guy right there, right? So LA's got to overcompensate, you know what I mean? Because he can't see. And that's what it is. It's crazy is that used car dealerships don't have the benefit of the franchise and the flag and all that other stuff. So they've got to get creative. They have to pay attention because it's survival. And so I appreciate you, Larry, talking about that. LA, can you add some wisdom here, brother?
Yeah, man. I think for me, with used cars, I'm still pretty old school with it myself, because there are a couple of key things that are going to remain in play. That used cars are still like snowflakes, right? They're all so different. And so when you know how to bring the value, right? And that's the whole thing. We have a system. Like, you got to have a system that just brings value no matter what. And when you execute that system, you can be successful. We already know that, this fact still remains that people are still buying different vehicles. And so I don't allow people to get hung up on a vehicle, but I still build value there. I'm going to build value in every aspect of what it is that I'm doing. Each person as a salesperson, a lot of times we talk to dealerships about, having a value package. Well, you as a salesperson got to have a value package. So when we understand how to bring value, it really doesn't matter what it is that you're offering. The customer's going to really get connected with you, and then they're going to allow you to help them make their decision because they trust you, like we talked about just a second ago when you talk about trust.
What LA just said, I think, is a perfect segue to what I'm working so hard to inspire my team and, quite frankly, just those around me to not just wait on leads to arrive to them, but be a strong and incredible networker and attract opportunities to you. So Cody is on this Clubhouse with us, and I would love to ask Cody what inspired him originally to start attracting customers to himself, how that journey...
Danny's beeping.
Sorry, my phone's being silly. So how Cody started on that, and then what were the tipping points that got you thinking about, okay, now I need to create a website, and did you have it all figured out? Did you have a mentor? Because those are the things that I'm struggling on the ground with every day to tell my team, hey, the resources are there. I just can't hold your hand the whole way, but what I can do is cheer you on and say, the business is here. You just got to go out and get it and be an entrepreneur.
Cody, did you hear all that?
So, pretty much it started out with wanting to not have to work so hard for, chase all these leads that, may or may not get back to you. So I had to create a different avenue that made it easier for myself. The website came about, the more and more I grew, some customers would just go direct to the dealer and bypass me for whatever reason. I was like, well, I need to capture every single lead possible for my personal self to, I'm putting in the effort, not everybody else. So I wanted to reap that gain. So at the same time, I separated myself from the dealer, which allowed me to control those leads. And I could, work them through the process that I created.
And I just do want to throw out there, and I know you like the word billion, so I had the privilege, we had one day what was called a modern day simplified, and there was a bunch of companies on there, and Enterprise Car Sales is a $20 billion privately held company. And we have the very privilege of being their partner and probably our closest partner. The character, the high moral fabric of that organization is second to none. I mean, they do everything with excellence. So he was my partner, and I was interviewing him on this when we were talking about, experience. And he said something that I thought was profound, and let me just hopefully pour into you today what he said. Again, Mike Bystrom, who's the vice president of Enterprise Car Sales, Sean, a $20 billion company. That way, he said, we sat down as an executive team, And we figured out what type of experience. We started with the end and worked backwards. We figured out what experience we wanted to give our customers, and then we backfilled and looked for the technology partners and the partners in general that would allow us to give that experience. So my encouragement to you is, it's easy to come on Clubhouse and what I say Sunday school words, and everybody, we cheer and we yay and we say, yeah, I want to give a good experience. But then we go back to that. We go back and we sit in front of the door and we wait for our ups, and then it's back to 1985. But if you really want to be all in, figure out collectively as leadership on what type of experience, how you want to encourage your people that work with you and for you, and how you can serve them, and then backfill that with the right partners. And I guarantee you, I dare you, good things will come. That Toyota store that I was at, when my buddy got to that Toyota store, it was selling 150 total. They're going to do 300 pre-owned. And oh, by the way, they're up $1,200 PVR by raising cars over Viato. You know why? Because he said, this is the experience that I want to give. So hopefully that helps somebody figure out what experience and then backfill everything else. Start at the end and then create a new beginning.
I love it. I'm going to transition this to the word track section for our people. LA, we want to just talk about how is the best way to handle, if you've got these leads, if you got used car buyers, as Danny calls them, again, future clients, right? And you don't have a car in stock. How do you recommend that they handle that? So let's just say that whether it's a salesperson or it's a BDC rep, they're following up with an internet purchase request on a pre-owned vehicle that's not in stock. How do you recommend that somebody handles that? LA Williams, blind master.
Great question, Sean. So the number one thing we got to do is we got to learn how to lead with questions, right? And so that's the first rule of engagement, as I'm going to lead with a question. So as I'm, talking about the vehicle and different things like that, I'll go through the normal process. And especially if I'm going through and I find out the person is looking for that particular vehicle. So as I ask questions, if I find that out, the question is, hey, so what was it about this particular vehicle that, had you reach out, right? So initially, they're clicking on the internet. What was it about this vehicle? That's the question. What was it about this vehicle? So what you're going to find is that people have different reasons why they're reaching about a specific vehicle. If it's a particularly older vehicle, and I'm going to say kind of out of warranty, it's, like 2000, let's just say, 13, 12, 11, something like that, then I might ask a question like this. I might say, hey, let me ask you, Sean, is this the exact vehicle you were hoping for, or did you just settle for something you saw online? Right? I'll ask that simple question. Is this the exact vehicle you're hoping for? Now, then I notice I didn't say looking for, right? I said, is this the exact vehicle you were hoping for, or did you just settle for something you saw online? And that's the exact tone and inflection that I'm going to use in that situation, because most people don't want to settle. Most answers to that question is going to be, well, if you got something better. That's usually what the customers say. And so I'm already prepared. Now, if they say, yes, that's the exact vehicle, well, I don't 100% just take that I didn't go with it. I ask the follow-up question. Okay, cool. So what was it about this particular vehicle that, made you like it? And they're going to give me an answer, right? Anybody can give me an answer. It doesn't really matter. I already know what I'm going to say. Anybody got an answer for me?
It was cheap.
3 rows.
Yeah. No, I completely understand where you come from. So who said 3 rows?
Lindsay,
okay. Hey, Lindsay, let me ask you, if I could show you something that had the 3rd row like you like, and of course with similar mileage, options, and pricing, would you be willing to take a look at that?
As long as it's in the same price range.
Okay. No, absolutely. Boom, right? That's why I said what I said, right? And of course, with similar mileage, options, and pricing, I make sure that I say that, because I already know customers are going to either say, as long as it's the same price, or as long as as long as they got the same options, or as long as the miles aren't too high. Those are the 3 things that people will say. So I've already implemented into my word track. And of course, with similar mileage, options, and pricing, would you be willing to take a look at that? Because if I asked her would she be interested, she would say no, just so you know. Because people aren't interested in anything. They might be open. Hey, would you be open to taking a look at that? She'll say yes. If I say, would you be willing to take a look at that? She'll say yes. But if I say, would you be interested in that? She'd say, no, well, no. It's just how people work. Man, nobody want to be close.
LA, stop. You're killing them for free. Stop it. That's enough of the sample. That's the blind master right there. That's Wu-Tang, Shaolin in one. All right, let's go to my GSM. Quick, Roy, and you're on deck, Khaled, so you better think of something brilliant, right? You got to follow up LA. Roy, Davila, you're a GSM at the desk. What happens? If you're going on a TO and somebody's asking you, hey, do you have the car in stock, and you don't, how do you respond to that? Quick.
The same way LA just did.
You can't do that. You can't do that. You got to do something different.
I'm going to throw a twist on it.
All right, go ahead.
I'm going to ask them, okay, if that vehicle's not available, hey, what caught your attention about that car? Was it that particular? Were you looking for that particular unit, or were you looking for something more in that price range or those payments? And the reason I'm asking you that is we went ahead and I preemptively got you a selection. So instead of just coming out here with some bad news, I've got great news. You're not just stuck to that vehicle. Here's a few more that are in that same price range, and I can get around that same payment that we were talking about. Follow me. Let's go take a look at what I have.
Khaled, you're up. Okay, Roy, I like it. I'm just giving you some shit. Okay, Khaled, you're up. GSM as well. Let's go. What you got?
Well, if you're on the talent level like Danny, you could work it just like you would a new car that you don't have. If you're able to acquire and purchase pre-owned car as well, why not also, if there's nothing in stock that would work it as a used car locate.
Okay, so elaborate on that. Or you want a TO to Danny for you?
Well, Danny's the master of buying 4 cars a day, I think you said. Tracking 120.
All right, tag, TO. This is synergy. This is what I'm talking about. Cypher, baby. Let's get into this shit. Danny, what does he mean by used car locate? How would you use that? So as a DP, you're talking to somebody, the car's not in stock. How do you handle it?
Yeah, so the scarcity, and it's the truth of it, because right now cars are moving fast. And so if I've got a customer that's on a specific vehicle that I know that isn't a price shopper, but this is a specialty vehicle, then I start building that car with them. So the idea of a used car factory actually exists at Country Hill because we will procure that vehicle. We'll put them into the CRM. We'll start loving on them. And we have real conversations because Sean, if you were the guy that was buying that vehicle from me that I don't yet have, I would tell you, look, the more specific you get, the more it's going to cost you because it's harder to find, but you're going to get exactly what you want. So I set those expectations up front, and then we go find it and we fill it. And so that's part of the adventure. That's part of the fun.
LA, back to you.
Here's the kid. So this is what I'll say. I mean, and if we're talking still about the used car list, because people they have that challenge. So as soon as you get them to agree, here's the crazy thing. People get stuck. Like when the person, let's say Lindsay goes, yeah, as long as it's the same price, because we're on the phone, I'm like, perfect. I mean, because I'm confident we have something in our inventory that fits that. So let me ask you this question. Then I'll go into another question. Because availability doesn't matter at that point. As soon as she agrees that it's not that particular vehicle, then it's completely up to me now. I just feel completely empowered. And so many people, they go, okay, and then you hesitate, and then that person starts to think and start asking more questions and things like that. So you got to be prepared. I think that's the number one conversation. That's the thing that I want to add to how I want to close it out is making sure you're prepared for every situation. I'm getting pained like a mug.
All right, listen, I love this group. I appreciate you guys spending time. I hope you got value. I mean, we try to crush it on used cars. Danny and the rest of our panel, thank you so much. Take care, everybody. Good night. Stay blessed.
I love this place. Good night.
Good night.
Bye, everyone.
So there you have it, the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast. This podcast comes to you every week from the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. If you have a question about the show or would like the chance to become a guest, feel free to contact us directly at 856-546-2440 or email us at millionairecarsalesman@gmail.com. This program is a presentation of Synergy Records, produced by Tiana Mick and L.A. Williams. Production and engineering by L.A. Williams. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is hosted every week by L.A. Williams and the Millionaire Car Salesman himself, Sean V. Bradley. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast can be found everywhere, so please don't forget to review, subscribe to, and share the show. Thanks for listening to the Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast, and remember, where I'm from, money provides options. The Millionaire Car Salesman Podcast is sponsored in part by Dealer E-Process, VinQ, and AutoWeb.
Attention auto dealers. You need an opportunity to do business. AutoWeb is one of the largest suppliers of high-quality leads. I mean, high-quality buyers. At a 10% closing ratio, you will be at less than $190 per car sold. Don't just settle for what you get. AutoWeb can fully customize your results through targeted markets and/or zip codes, and as a partner, you will get premium placement within search results. Who better to do that than literally the people that invented automotive internet sales? If you want to sell more cars more often and more profitably, then you need AutoWeb.
If you enjoyed this podcast, then make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave us a review. Let some other folks know about it. Oh, and don't forget to join the Millionaire Car Salesman group on Facebook. We'll see you there.